Essential everyday pasta $4.99. Essential everyday croutons $5.99. Essential everyday party peanuts $12.99. Chobani Greek yogurt $5.69. Chef Boyardee canned pasta and microwave pasta $6.99. VO5 shampoo and conditioner $5.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart, tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en
Value Mart!
Kids in Nevis, time to get charged up for the Fuller Energy Home Series. West Indies is back at Warner Park as they take on Australia in 3 action-packed T20 Internationals, July 25th, 26th, and 28th at 7 p.m. So round up your crew, bring your flags, and come to rally with the men in maroon. Get your tickets now at westindiescricket.com. Physical tickets would be available at the Oval Box office from July 21st.
More than 42 million cars from 19 different car companies are being recalled for faulty airbag inflators. Repairs are fast, easy, and free. The problem isn't with the airbag, it's with the airbag inflator. Because the inflator can rupture, shooting shrapnel through the airbag, which can cause serious injury or even death. Don't risk it, fix it.
Please contact TDC Automotive Division to find out if your Toyota vehicle is affected by the Takata airbag recall. Visit or call us at 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis.
A pleasant good day to you and yours, and welcome to Voices for today. And I'm going to be your host, keeping your company up until midday. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to admonish you, implore you, entice you to give me a call if there's something weighing on your mind that you feel you should air. Whatever the topic, whatever the issue, whether it be social, political, give me a call. The numbers to call are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. In the UK, 033-344-0065. In the US of A, 285-6984. In Canada, 305-921-4619. And as I always do, and I will do again, if you try any of those numbers and one doesn't work, feel free to try another. Hello, good day.
Quint, it is me again.
Yes.
Greetings in Jesus' name to you and to all your listeners. Now, first of all, Quint, when you had on the gentleman who was speaking about the plastic bag ban, now, when I called in, I only spoke to the issue of plastic bags versus their alternatives. I never spoke to styrofoam. I never even alluded to styrofoam because I don't know nothing about styrofoams and the alternatives. I really don't know nothing about that. But I read concerning plastic bags and the alternatives, and that is what I was addressing. You go over the audio, you hear me just addressing plastic bags versus the alternatives. So I think that was a misdirection on the gentleman's part, be it intended or not. No. It's years I have not addressed the issue of GMOs and hybrid seeds and that sort of stuff and winnfm. Years I have not done that. But what Mr. Flanders said, he's perfectly right. And that is what last time I've spoken to that issue on winnfm. It's basically the same thing I said. And not only that, you cannot have a growing population and at the same time resorting to organic farming. Because when you resort to organic farming, the things them take a lot longer to mature and that sort of stuff, and they're more expensive. And that is why some years ago they had farmers protest in Sri Lanka because the government wanted them to go into just pure organic farming. But they couldn't keep up with the population because the thing that wasn't ripe enough, fast enough, and that sort of stuff. And they were more expensive, and farmers were losing. So Mr. Flanders is very correct with that.
Bear in mind, though, that as we stated, there are setbacks that will occur because when you genetically modify things and then you digest those things over time, they're going to have effects on you that might not be to your best advantage. So I'm saying I hear what you're saying, but bearing in mind that when we get certain fallouts over time, it is because of the way we're speeding up the process of doing the things that we're doing to survive.
Well, the last thing I've read on the issue where the science is concerned, at best the jury is still out as to the health effect.
Well, that is one of the sad parts of the thing. When it comes to these scientific things, the jury is always still out, or you find one come and say one positive and another one come and say negative, and we never can get to the bottom of these things when it comes to these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the net effect, like you said in your previous program, there are gives and takes.
Yeah.
And I think the negative effects are greater than the positive effect because people starve more, die more, if we're going to try to feed a large and growing population by just using organic farming. It's not possible, and expenses are going to rise because they're going to be more expensive. But that is for that issue as well. Now, quickly also, I would like to say, concerning social service levy, it is helping to increase unemployment. There are other factors as well, but this is one of the factors that are helping to increase unemployment in the Federation because employers have to add 3% to the employees' 3.5%. And that means even though as minimum wage going up, the 3% that the employer had to dig into the pocket to contribute going to be even more to those who are going to be paying the levy. And the more employees you hire, the more you have to dig into your pocket because you have to pay a matching 3% to the 3.5% you're going to deduct out of your employees' wage. So obviously, in the end, the social service levy is going to is helping to increase the unemployment problem. So you put in the employers in more expense and the turnover is not increasing. But lastly, I would like to say, in your earlier program as well, mention things were made about praise for the nation. Well, let me say this. The Bible says, if you turn away from obeying the word of God, he will not regard your praise. He will not hear your praise. And the churches, the praise are not being heard by God because they're involving too much disobedience of the word of God. Doctrines, they have thrown them out the door. Anybody could come and say they're Christian and they join up in any and everybody. That's not biblical. That is sinful. Plus, immorality in the church seems to be on the increase. So, in other words, the church needs to clean up its own backyard first before it is able to clean up St. Kitts' backyard. Because until they get right with the word of God in doctrine and in morality, the prayers are not heard by God because too much iniquity in the church right now. Thank you, Quinn. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, let me take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
Found the sound 99.9
Seize the day with a summer loan from TDC Financial Services. Whether it's vacation, home upgrades, back to school prep, or even a little treat for yourself, borrow up to $65,000 unsecured with low rates and flexible terms. Apply today at TDC Financial Services, Central Street, St. Kitts, or Main Street, Charlestown, Nevis. Don't miss the sunshine. Let your summer plans sail smoothly with TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Here are your Horseman's Value Mart IGA specials.
Running July 24 to August 6.
Now, our Value Club Blue Tax specials. Langer's juices, just $11.99. Essential Everyday Single Slice Cheese, just $8.99. Culinary Circa Pizza, just $29.99. Stonebridge Ice Cream Sandwiches, $21.49 each. Essential Everyday Pasta Sauce, $9.99. Downy Liquid Fabric Softener, just $27.99. And now, our very low weekly
Value deals. Essential Everyday Pasta, $4.99. Essential Everyday Croutons, $5.99. Essential Everyday Party Peanuts, $12.99. Chobani Greek Yogurt, $5.69. Chef Boyardee Canned Pasta and Microwave Pasta, $6.99. VO5 Shampoo and Conditioner, $5.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart, tell them in Spanish.
sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en Value Mart.
And I'm back with you again. The time is approximately 10:23, or 23 minutes moving away from the 10 o'clock hour. And like I said, I'm your host right here on Voices for Today. And again, I reiterate, if there's something on your mind that you want to air, you want to vent, you want to put out there into the public domain, feel free to give me a call and elucidate on such. Hello, caller.
Good morning.
Good day.
Your previous program
Yes.
about the banning of the plastics and so forth.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure where they're gonna get the paper from. It can be from the trees.
Well, I posed that. I asked that because, like I said, a colleague of mine brought that up to me, and I put it forward to him. But give me your take on it.
Well, in this, going along with what he's saying about sustainability and all them things and the environment, simply, if you move the trees, we ain't got more problems. I think the plastic came in initially to stop the cutting down of the trees.
Yes, most definitely.
So now we're going back to destroying the trees, which is in fact destroying the environment.
Yeah.
To save it. That is something funny.
And hear this, you're a farmer. Just now we were having a talk, and Greg continued it, where they're saying that we have to go to these genetically produced seeds and so forth because they're more viable for planting and fast production of food and so forth. And they're saying that if you go organic, it's not going to be sustainable because the mass population and that kind of stuff. But here's where you have a contradiction, because if you're cutting down the trees and you plant back the trees, don't the trees have to go through that process of how many years it takes for a tree to mature and that kind of stuff? Because that is an organic plant. So you're saying in one vein it can't work, and in another vein you're going to make it work? It doesn't add up to me. What do you think?
Well, I can tell you something with the organic. I mean, I'm a farmer. I use absolutely no chemicals on my food.
Yeah.
What Greg was referring to in Sri Lanka was not just the farmer saying going organic. No. They spoke specifically about the fertilizer. So what the farmers were asking for in Sri Lanka is to bring back the use of the chemical fertilizer, the NPK and so forth, not no seeds.
Yeah.
Because the seed thing is a funny thing.
It's a funny thing.
Yeah, I can tell you why. I told a Chinese woman that I did not have no cucumbers because I couldn't get no seeds.
Yeah.
She asked me, or said to me, she said, yeah, man, you mean you plant so much cucumber and no seed? From that day, I was never again without seed.
I got you.
Seeds come from the cucumber.
I got you.
So whatever I grow, I collect my seeds. I gather my seeds.
That's it.
And we plant together seeds.
Yeah.
I think that's organic seeds.
Most
they
definitely.
are not GMO, because the GMO food ain't good. It's like the cornmeal. We use cornmeal, plentiful. That cornmeal that we eat is a modified corn. That does not break down. If you feed it, if you got an ant problem and use sprinkle corn, the ants will eat the corn and eventually die because they can't break it down, they can't digest it. So what are you going to do to the humans?
You know.
We are not supposed to eat it. The genetic modified food, yes, he is right. It's quick, fast, no. But in the long run,
In the long run.
it breaks on the health. I mean, we're suffering from all kind of diseases, and it's basically the food that we eating.
That is why I said. That is why I said to the farmer and also to Greg, we shouldn't be complaining when we adapt these genetically enhanced seeds and the process of growing food. We shouldn't be complaining when years down the line we have all kind of adverse effects. Because what else do we
That's what's
expect?
going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
I don't use no chemicals except
My-
herbicide.
Myself, I grow bananas, plantain. I have some pear, star, five finger. Yeah, five finger. Those five finger. A number of things, and I don't use no chemicals whatsoever.
You know.
Yeah. So
The organic is the way to go. I will concur with Greg though. Yeah, on the side of the fertilizer. Unless we can get, because we would have to be able to have, if we're going to use raw manure,
yeah,
so that is a little bit ticklish, that part.
yeah.
It would need something totally different to be done where we would be able to access the natural fertilizer.
Yeah.
Until such time, well, I would be partial to the chemical fertilizer.
Okay. I hear you.
Whereas with the seeds and so forth, and we really, because unless you have a really big plot, still you don't need the chemical because you can use manure.
Yeah.
Then also what we need to step up to is composting in a
Yes.
serious way.
Yes. Yeah.
If we got those systems in order, then we really do not need the
Chemical.
the chemical fertilizer.
Because
And two,
go ahead.
we do not farm on the scale that those farmers farm on.
Yeah.
We
Nowhere
got
near
little
that.
plots of backyard garden called farm. These ain't no farms.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
real.
When you see their farms, you look as far just like you go down to the bay and you see right to the horizon. That's the way their farms look.
That's the way. That's a real farm.
Yeah.
We take one field out of Mr. What his name estate. We take one of his fields. Probably, the average estate in St. Kitts maybe was 190 something, close to 200 acres maybe.
Yeah.
When we take one 10-acre field and cut it in 5 and give 5 people 2 acres of land, my son say, that is poverty. What can you produce to feed yourself, a family, maintain? No.
Yeah.
If you're going to give a man and you expect, and actually, people are expected to produce on these little piece of land.
Yeah.
When you cut it up the first time, plant it, it's only once planting if you in any kind of serious farming.
Yeah.
Then you got to sit and wait for 3 to 6 months. A crop come in, and by the time in 3 months, by the time you harvest and ready again, it's 6 months.
Yeah.
What are you doing for 6 months? Because all the land is already occupied.
Yeah. But let me ask you this: don't you think that following the trend of your what you're stating, don't you think that if farming was better organized, where we could have the husbandry where you have designated places where your cows are going to graze, where your goat are going to think, don't you think that that would cut down on some of the problems of finding manure and that kind of stuff, because then you would know w- whenever you clean up the farm where the goats are, the cows are, you have an abundance of waste that you can use as manure. But because we're not organized, the cattle farmers don't have anywhere to graze, so it's a little piece there and a little piece there. There's no, we can't get the amount of manure that we need to do proper farming. And whenever you use manure, you as a farmer, you see the difference between the plant that has manure and that doesn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something about that. Back in the sugar days, if I had a cattle, every day I had to tie the cattle in this spot every night. And the morning, the tractors would go around, just like what you say now, and collect all the manure.
Yeah.
As it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the chemical fertilizer didn't fully come into use until late. Like my brethren say, when they know they're going to done the crop.
Yeah.
And they're going to done it. So they introduce us to this thing, which, yeah, so you're quite right.
Yeah.
Every state had, even if it's the pound, they got a place where they could go and get the manure. It wasn't just impounding the animals here or tying it there.
Yeah. It was well organized. Yeah.
It was well organized.
Yeah, and in terms of compost, there's another thing. I plant bananas. Whenever I weed up and I cut the grass or whatever around on my land, I don't burn that or throw it away. I throw it on, even when I prune the banana trees, the leaves and so forth, I cut them into smaller pieces and pull them around the base of the banana tree. And you would be surprised to see how quick that banana goes up and bears because of the compost around it. Because it does two things. One, whenever you water around the plant, it keeps the moisture there for a longer period as opposed to it not being there, and it breaks down over time. So both compost.
It means then that we would have to reorganize our minds.
Most definitely. Yeah.
And that's I don't know if we capable, because you see, I tell you a while ago, I said it the other day on the cricket.
Yes.
Yeah. A people who don't know themselves, as we are,
Yeah.
have it hard.
Most definitely. And you're right. And you're right. Sometimes I question if we do have the capabilities, because we seem to lean always quickly toward the easiest way out as opposed to putting some work in. We don't seem to realize that work has its end result.
That's so.
You as a farmer, you can't just go and just throw down your seeds, put them in a hole and just leave them to the rain and whatever, and they grow. You put in some work. You make sure you weed, you make sure you do whatever you need to make sure that plant comes up without being stifled by wild stuff and so forth. And in the end, when you get your produce and people see you with your vehicle and it's full with watermelons or whatever, then they think they don't see the work that you put in.
Now the people think you throw down the seeds and they go up there. And you just go and pick up.
You know?
But that's why farmers is facing so much a struggle in the St. Kitts.
Yeah.
Because the perception is that farmers make a lot of money.
Yeah.
The people only see when you go to sell. The people do not see the cost to put in the crop. I mean, even a vehicle. Anybody who's seriously farming, you must have transportation.
Yeah.
You must. the cost of diesel, the cost of these vehicles. Nobody look at what farmers really go through to make it to market.
Yeah.
Nobody sees that. Farming is one of the most expensive undertakings.
Most expensive.
And sure, because when you put in, you ain't sure you're getting back.
That's another point. Yeah.
You ain't sure.
So many things can happen. Like right now, we're in the hurricane season. That's another question mark right there.
All the farmers holding their breath.
Yeah.
Every farmer is holding his breath.
Yeah.
I'm praying. Who don't pray right now? Yeah, because, you know, yeah, 'cause, I mean, farmers lose every year.
Every
The
year.
last storm we had there, we had a little storm last year. Yeah, and farmers lost a lot. And this present administration didn't even have the respect to address the farmers and find out what was like. I think maybe they sent two people say go see. I mean, previously, after any storm, somebody in administration, actually the minister, would meet with the farmers, if assess the damage, give little compensation if it is
Necessary,
seen possible.
yeah.
Not no. Nobody shows up. Nobody. There's no oversight. There's nothing. So, you know, the farmer they're gonna make it. Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard. But then, let me make a point before I leave, because this is bothering me.
Yes.
This is very, very, very important to me.
Go ahead.
I spoke about learning an African language.
Yes.
I wonder if you might have heard me say some time ago, I had a conversation with this Indian guy, an Inca, and we spoke from hours. Eventually, he asked me, he said, Rasta, he's from Ecuador. He says, Rasta, what is your language? I say, English.
Yeah.
No, we've been talking in English. He said, no. What is your language? I look at him and try to get some dignity. I said, my language is, because I understood what he was asking me.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, my language is a mixture of English and the African language.
Yeah.
The kid looked at me and he said, Rasta, you're a British colony. You don't look like no Englishman to me. The conversation changed
Yes.
from there on in. By me telling him my language is English, he informed me. He didn't ask me. He informed me that I came from a British colony, and many are the things that happened to my people, happened to his people. Language is important.
Yes.
If we cannot talk a language that reflects the image in the mirror, it says something. It is telling the world, one, like he said, not only colonize, it is a fact, lost your religion,
Yeah.
lost your language, your culture, your heritage. We are just instruments right now. We are not real people because we are not operating in our true selves.
Yes.
We have in St. Kitts many, many people from the African continent. There is the language Kiswahili, which is spoken in almost every African country. I am saying there's a lot of talk about linking with Africa. Well, for me, it would make a lot of sense if we learn a language so we could talk to we brothers and sisters when we go to Africa.
Well, you see, I'm glad you made that point, because I've always been saying I'm sure you've always been hearing me speak about the Caribbean coming together as a unit. And it goes back to what has been said on numerous occasions, the divide and conquer. But what irks me, what annoys me is that in this era, we have leaders who, when we look at them, we see that they look like us. They look, their skin color, their background, as the Calypsonian said, we just came on different ships, to the different islands. But
Yeah.
these people who look like us, you want to tell me that they aren't aware that one of the impediments to our unification is that we don't have a link with our history and our roots?
They're aware. They're aware.
So why then nothing is being done about it?
Putin said, Vladimir Putin
Yes.
said, the people think that they vote for government. He said he has spoken with many U.S. presidents. He said after the elections, the people would come. He said the men in black suits wearing blue or black ties, they come with briefcases. They sit down and they explain to you how the thing really go. He referred to Obama, like he said, Obama wanted to close Guantanamo, really,
Yeah.
but he couldn't do it
Couldn't do
because it's not his. Obama said every morning he gets a briefing, not from the CIA, but from a person that you would never see. He said once he disobeyed the order, and in a short while his children were taken for security reasons. He said he didn't even get a chance. No, he wasn't even allowed to tell his children goodbye. So we elect them, they go in, and unless you're going to be real radical, they ain't got no choice. They just follow the order.
You see that point you made? Someone recently brought up a case where a point where they were blaming Mandela because they said Mandela came in, and when he came in, this happened and that happened and blah blah blah. And I said to them, Mandela wasn't a fool, Mandela knew why they had him in prison for all those times. They brought him out. They put him up as a leader, but Mandela knew his limitations. He knew what he could do and what he couldn't do, and so he didn't, like a lot of them, try to hold on to the reins of power. He did what he could do, and then he steps aside, and he hoped that anyone who came after him would make their little incremental steps so that in the long run we end up where we should be. But a lot of people are not aware of how the world runs. A lot of people are not aware of the fact that, see what you just outlined? Here you're President of the United States of America, the first black president, they say. But you think he has the will to just do what he wants? Black people felt that here we have the first black president, he's just going to turn everything in our favor. It doesn't work like that.
But that's what he said. She said, he actually asked the question, he said, do you think the president is in charge? Do you think the president has power? He said, no. He said, no. Every morning the president gets a briefing as to what he is supposed to do and should not do. Like I said, what Trump is doing is not him. Trump can't get up and do all these things. No. Trump is performing his role in carrying out the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, world domination.
Yeah.
That is his role. And they figure somebody like he who ain't really got too much finesse.
Yeah. And you're being quite kind. Let's say he doesn't have too much going on upstairs, The perfect puppet.
So he was a good instrument.
Yeah.
But we got to get back. We got to like I said to you already. We got to start our own reparatory justice. We don't have to wait on England or anybody for us to start. The CMM Brantley Institute, Mandarin in England, in Nevis.
Mm-hmm.
I made a comment on one he posts about it already.
Yeah.
He responded, asked me what language I think should be taught.
Mm-hmm. Imagine that.
But you teaching French, English, Spanish, we had Latin, men how come we ain't got German and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But we would never. And until such time, we supposed to know that we are not liberated people. We are still enslaved. Nothing changed. Only the man realize when your brother hit you, when he hit us, we say racism and we put up a lot. But when the brother hit you, you say, Nyambawado.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so he simply changed faces. Yeah, it's black faces. We see it, but it's white mask.
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks for your input.
Same to you.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Same to you. Have a good day. I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop www.shoptdcgroup.com.
And I'm right back with you, and let me see if I can go right to the phone lines. Hello, caller. Good day to you.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm doing okay. Let me say, this is on the backdrop of the discussion you had this morning with Island Tea with the guy with this plastics and so on.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me say, right, this has nothing to do with the environment. I'm going to tell you, some years ago, I remember I was one of the voices that was talking a lot about the littering of the place and how it looks and so on. And I remember at that time, back then, I remember there were a few other voices, but I remember one of the other staunch voices was one who identifies himself as Carl Brown. He was one of the voices also. And talk about the littering and the dirtiness of the place and whatsoever. And you know, nobody paid attention to what we were saying. Absolutely nobody. And then afterwards, we hear about this thing from outside, talking about the littering and the plastics gets into the ocean, and when it disintegrates to these, whatever they call it, and the fish ingest it and it goes into the flesh. I have a question regarding that, because most of the times when we eat, the food goes into the stomach, it's digested, absorbed, whatever can be absorbed there down into the intestines, and whatever the body doesn't use, it passes out. So I always put a question mark over that, right? But then when you look at it and they're talking about the environment, they are still drilling for crude oil. Right now here, look at what they're doing to the Amazon forest. It is said that that is the largest ecosystem on the earth, and they are destroying it.
I brought up that point this morning.
Okay, and they're talking about replanting trees. Number one, I don't believe that. They're not replanting anything, okay? And even if they do replant, how soon you think those trees are going to develop? Those trees that they are destroying in the Amazon have been there for ages.
That's another point I brought up just not too long ago. Yeah.
Right, they're there for ages. They're not replanting anything. You have a people, a native people, indigenous people that are dislocated, relocated, murdered, killed, and you're telling me that they're concerned about the environment? When plastics came in, it was a replacement for paper, because they said that the amount of trees and grasses that have to be cut down, you know, it is not good for the ecosystem. So that's why they came up. They came up with an alternative. Well, I don't have the time right now here to talk about the plastic and to explain how more feasible it is than the paper products. And you now telling me that they're now going back to the same paper that they say wasn't working because they have to destroy all these trees and all these things. Something is not adding up, you know. They are still drilling for crude oil. They are still making plastics. So if they're not using the sludge that is the byproduct of the crude oil in industry or the petroleum industry, what are they going to do with the sludge? Are they going to get the government down here, other black countries, to agree? Will they force it on them and tell them, well, we have to dump this in your waters? So are they going to agree? I mean, if that's the case, they have no choice. It has nothing to do with the environment. Absolutely nothing. Just the other day, I don't know if you're aware of it, just the other day, this black guy in America, one of those states, I don't remember the states, he came open with his technology and he's showing how the whole equipment and everything, his contraptions and everything are set up. And he has developed the technology for extracting fuel from plastic waste. And what he is doing, it is not polluting the atmosphere or anything like that. Just at his home and whatever. He is extracting fuel. And he did the test run on a vehicle, and the vehicle is running properly. So he did all of that. So he just came out, you know, because maybe in terms of the patent. And you know what is happening? The guy came back and said, if we don't see him anymore, it means that they have killed him. They are after him. He said at night, they have black helicopters flying over his house. And right now here, nobody knows where he is. People are concerned. So you telling me if this has anything to do with the environment, if there's now a way that somebody is now processing those plastic waste, getting fuel, what is the problem? What is the problem? You know what comes to mind when I hear all of this talk? You know what comes to mind when I hear all of this talk? 2020. When they themselves came out and they were explaining, saying what is going to happen. Because even now they're still talking about long COVID. Their doctors now coming. I mean, they're talking because they knew all along what was going to happen. But this is the time now that they're putting that information out there. Say there's no such thing as long COVID. What is happening is the vaccine. But prior to that, they were talking. And then they had their unit that came talking about conspiracy theorists and conspiracy theory. And we had our people down here who was pushing and promoting that, and they're speaking as though they know. And they didn't conduct any research. They did not do any test or anything on the virus. But they're speaking Like they have first-hand information. And this is what is happening again with the plastics. You understand?
Yeah.
So every time I hear them talk like this, the first thing that comes to mind is what happened in 20. All of this is just a continuation anyway. You understand? This earth will never know peace. Never ever know peace until Satan and his seed is no more. And take it or leave it. I'm not here to argue with anybody. The same Bible that they say they read and they know and they understand is the same book I read. The same book I read. With the wisdom of the Almighty that he imparts in me. We will never know peace on this earth. And then they have the kingdoms of the earth. Or the governments of the earth, if you want to call it. Well, I don't really say, well, governments too, but the politicians at their bid and call. You see? So sometimes when we see all of these things here, we think, like was said before, the politicians, they may rule themselves. How is it when the citizens of this country, something simple as galvanizing or organizing a group to get these places cleaned up, people are paid to clean anyway. And nobody did anything from even government level, administrative level. Nobody did anything. And as soon as the call came from outside talking about plastics and the oceans and all of these kind of things, you see how quick they get a group putting them all on the airwaves talking about single-use plastic and so on. The problem is not the plastics right now. The problem is littering, the incorrect disposal of garbage, because the place ain't no cleaner. I don't care what they say. It is no cleaner, because if they think that what they call the t-shirt plastics, as they call it, if they think because maybe they mightn't see that anymore, that the problem is solved, that's a lie. The place is still dirty. Because you have plastic bottles, you have glass bottles, you have all kind of other stuff. You know? What they call white goods, they're still strewn all over the place. You understand?
Yep,
So
yep.
this has nothing to do with no environment. It has nothing to do with no environment. Absolutely nothing. So tomorrow, then they go back to the use of plastics. What they're going to come back to the citizens now to talk about. This involves a lot of things, including economics, greed. And those who are there, they are anti-nature and anti-creator. That's Satan and his seed. They can never do anything in terms of leaving the environment or leaving it in a better place. It's all about destruction. So who is going to believe them? Well, who want to believe them, but not me. Because every time they come with these kind of things, I see through it. So you have a blessed day.
Well, thanks for your input, and you also have a great day. I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break, and when I come back, we'll continue.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, and more only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
Flow customers, unlock big prepaid rewards every time you activate a prepaid plan. Activate a 7-day plan or higher and earn points towards your rewards. Activate again, earn even more points. Activate next week, well, you get the picture. The more you activate, the more extra data and prizes you earn. Get in on the big prepaid rewards. Dial *129 or visit topupflow.com to activate a prepaid plan today.
And I'm back with you. The time, 4 minutes moving away from the 11 o'clock hour. Now that last caller, well, you could say the last two callers, as I listened to the last caller, the lady there speaking, a lot was going through my mind. I didn't interrupt because I wanted her to make her point and be clear and for us to listen and completely understand what she's saying, because making these calls cost money, and I wanted her to use her credit to the best of her ability without me taking up much of her time. But I agree with a lot of what she said, because like I've said on numerous occasions, and I will reiterate, whenever these individuals who are descendants of those who colonize us want to give us something that we can run with and get it to work with the masses of the people, what they do is mix truth with lies. Anyone who studies psychology knows that if you mix some truth with lies, it is more palatable, people are more likely to accept it and run with it, because a lot of individuals don't do research for themselves. They don't analyze, they just take it as they hear it, and if they hear something in it that makes sense or is a truth factor, they tend to believe the whole thing is a truth. Now, having said that, let me put it this way. When she said there's nothing to do with the environment, I agree with her, because it is nothing to do with the Caribbean environment. The Caribbean does not contribute that level of pollution that messes up the globe, that is causing what they call global warming and other adverse effects. The Caribbean is almost nil contributor to that. But like I said, they mix truth with lies. They know that our countries in the Caribbean region have not worked out an appropriate way to pick up and dispose of our garbage. So people throw it in the guts, throw it here, throw it there, all kind of places, and next thing you know, when we have some rain, you see it wash down to the seashore, and it affects the sea life, the marine life. For instance, they speak about plastics affecting the turtles. That is true. So that is what they do. They mix the truth with the lie. The truth is these plastics and other things that have not been appropriately picked up and disposed of and wind up in our seashores, our coastline, affect the marine life. And so they say, well, you see, this is happening, and so you have to do this and you have to do that. But look at them themselves. They're not practicing the things that they're imposing on us. We know plastics came up, the use of plastic came up, so as to give plant life, the trees that they were cutting down on a massive scale, some time to recuperate, to regenerate. But now all of a sudden they're saying they're going to go back to the trees again and they're going to finish with plastic. Why not, as someone has said to me, and I agree, why not find the appropriate way to gather our garbage, plastic or otherwise, put them like a lot of those bigger countries do in different containers where you have the biodegradable in one and the plastics and so forth in another. So the biodegradable goes to our landfill, and those that will not break down properly, we find some other use for them, whether we're gonna, like we have around the island of St. Kitts and Nevis at certain times of the month. You find people come and they pick up the plastics and whatever. Why not do that as opposed to saying, well, you're going to get rid of this and you're going to go back to that? Because let me tell you, I could be wrong, but I believe that it's only a matter of time, and some years down the line, we're going to be using the very same plastic again. Perhaps then we will have found a better way to garner the plastics that have been used and dispose of them. But these things that we see happening to us along the Caribbean archipelago are things imposed by our former colonialists, because what they want to do is to keep you in a position where whenever they say jump, you jump. And our leaders, because we are not unified, we cannot go together as a unified body and say, well, look, we hear what you're saying about this, but we don't completely agree with that. So how about this? We can't say that because we're fragmented. We're individual countries. Again, to make it even broader, until Africa gets recognition and the African continent gets recognition, which, Africa is a massive place and it has wealth and other things, until that happens, we're in a compromised position. So at what point do our leaders come to the realization that they need to finish with this individual aspect and unify? Like yesterday, this stupid argument about Nevis has a local government, but St. Kitts don't have a local government, and all this nonsense to fragment. And we are brothers and sisters. You see the people on Nevis, they look any different to us apart from the few foreigners who come and reside here? They're us, but yet still we have a problem. They have a government we don't have. But the federal contingent controls everything. Why you think Mark have to come almost on his knees to get some help in this and to get some help in that from the federal government? Because the federal government, which resides on St. Kitts, controls everything. But no, we don't see the bigger picture. We look along these narrow lines, and because we're looking along these narrow lines, and those descendants of our former colonizers, they are following the trend of their forefathers, and they're keeping us in our lane. And we're not seeming to realize that. Hello? Lost that call. Let me try again. Hello, caller?
Yes, Quint?
Yeah.
Yes, me again. Well, I'm going to quickly say, it's still my opinion that St. Kitts don't have a local government. Only Nevis have one. And what we have is a federal government. That's still my opinion, because it is so in the man-made constitution, which is really sinful where the Bible is concerned. Because only the Bible is the true constitution and law, and the law of all lands and countries. So, but where the man-made so-called constitution is concerned, that is the case. But anyhow, I don't know if you recall the time when I told you that there was this black guy who was making fuel out of plastics.
I think I recall that, yeah.
Yeah, he called it plasticine. And not only that, I also told in that same call that people were also making roads using plastics. And those roads were better than the asphalt roads that we have. And not only that, well, I didn't tell you, but I will say now, there are special robots and so now that are very effective in cleaning up beaches and waterways and that sort of stuff where plastics are concerned. So there is a lot of innovation going on where recycling, reusing plastics and those sort of stuff. are now coming on the scene and are now on the scene to deal with the plastic issue. Well, if the plastic issue is really a problem here in the Caribbean, and I'm not saying it is not a problem, I'm not saying that, why don't they go this route in, for example, having people to come in who could build roads using plastics, and pay people to bring in plastic, because that is what people do. People gather the plastics and carry them to these businesses that build roads and that sort of stuff, and I think you might get paid for your plastics and those sorts. So just like when we submit bottles, why isn't it? Because this is a much better alternative than this ban thing. Because, like I said earlier, the alternative to these plastics, and I ain't know about the styrofoam issue, I don't know about that, but the plastics, the alternative to the plastics, the production of them, the transportation of them, are causing more CO2 and so on to be in the atmosphere. For my point, I ain't have no problem with that. But since they are arguing that this is bad for the atmosphere, well, why do something that is pumping even much more significantly more CO2 in the atmosphere if they really believe what they're saying about CO2? Why ban the plastics, which is going to end up with more CO2 in the atmosphere, since they believe it is so bad?
This morning when the individual was on, I said, and I will reiterate, it is a good initiative, considering where we're at. That does not mean, having said that it is a good initiative, that there couldn't have been other ways of dealing with it. And one of the things was to make sure that there's a proper pickup and disposal of the plastics. That's one of it. But considering that, when I said it is a good initiative, I mean in terms of where we're at right now and what they're bringing to us, it is a good initiative. But these are initiatives that we could have avoided if we had done if we consider doing things the proper way. Why not say, look, I remember when Alfonso Bridgewater was alive, and you can also attest to that, Greg, the things that he did to make sure the place, you see how he had Barstair?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
And a lot of the things that are continuing now is because of things that he implemented that are still ongoing. For instance, you have Carnival, you have some big session, and you walk down the street and you see it full of muck, and just some minutes after, and you see some people coming there, and then you can't believe just a few hours ago, the whole place, they look so dirty and despicable, right? These are things that he implemented. But it seems as if, though, as what usually happens, someone comes, they're very creative, they put something in place, and then they pass on or they retire, and someone comes and take their place, and for whatever reason, they don't continue that to its full extent, so we gradually fall right back to the old habits again. And those are the problems that we're faced with. But a lot of these things that you have said it, a lot of these things that we see implemented in terms of these new initiatives are because when our leaders go up abroad, those individuals who are descendants of our colonizers say to them, look, this is so and so and so, this is what we propose, and if you can get so and so done, we'll give you some grants, we'll give you X amount of money to do this, and so on and so forth. And they come back and they feed it to us.
Yes.
And they don't seem to realize that by doing these things, because of our individual stance within the region, that we're continuously putting ourselves in compromising position when it comes to the descendants of our colonizers. And we need to break away from this habit. But how do we do it when we elect people to represent us, and they go out there and they just swallow and regurgitate what they have been told?
Yes. Not only about our leaders, you see, and those, like I said, who advocate plastic bags, a lot of stuff, like I said, they bring up a lot of microplastics in your bodies. But how come they don't tell the people that, hey, if you consume kimchi, you're going to break down the microplastic in your bodies, and your body going to be able to eliminate it? You see, but not only that, I'm sure you would agree, and many would agree, we need to continually have good roads, stronger roads. But if the plastics, if these businesses that are using plastics to build stronger and better roads than the asphalt roads, well, why not have these companies to come in to give us better roads at a cheaper price?
Well, it might not be so easy as that, because things may look the way how these people put things forward whenever they come up with something. It always looks easy, but then when you get involved in it, you find there's a big cost to pay, and we're compromised. For instance, let me show you an example. We have good contractors here who can build and so forth. Yes, it is true that some of them take shortcuts and so forth, but we're speaking on a whole. We have good contractors here who can build good homes. But when Christoph Harbour was being started and so forth, we heard of people, Caucasian people, coming here and bringing Caucasian people to cast cement and run blocks and all that kind of stuff when we have people here. And next thing you know, it puts out our people from getting work and so on and so forth. So when they come up with these things, we say, oh, well, it looks good. But who's to say whenever we contact a company who's going to build this plastic road, they're not going to dictate and say, well, okay, we have all the expertise on that, and we're going to bring our people to do this because your people don't know how to do it. And next thing you know, we're spending our tax money. They're spending our tax monies, and you import a set of people who are going to get the contract, and then they import a set of people who are going to do the job. So we have roads, yes, but we didn't do anything to add to our GDP. So to build those roads, all of that money goes out to some other country. So there's a lot of intricacies that we have to look at whenever things come up. We don't just run and say, well, yeah, that sounds good, so we run with it. There has to be some research, and there has to be some planning as to how you're going to do it. For instance, you say, okay, so you're going to come and you're going to build the roads, but we say that when you come to build the roads, you employ our people. You just come with the expertise and the machinery, but our people have got to get some of that money.
So why at least not that with the plastics? With those who are building plastic, why at least not even that you just spoke up?
But I said that
rather than this silly ban thing.
But I said we don't know much about these companies. Like, I don't know much about building the roads with the plastics.
In the technique, even the technique itself, it is there to be learned.
Well,
it is not something in a secret card. It is there to we people could also learn it. Why not invest in that? People learning it and doing it.
Well, that's a good position.
Because they said they believe CO2 is bad. Where the plastic bag bans only putting more CO2 in the atmosphere. So they're contradicting themselves. They cannot. How do they reconcile that? Because they're saying it's making the atmosphere worse, giving us stronger hurricanes and that sort of stuff. If they really believe that, but how do they reconcile the plastic bans, which end up putting more CO2 in the atmosphere to make things worse?
But
how
Greg,
do they reconcile that? With that?
But Greg, as I've said before, and I'll reiterate, what we contribute in terms of CO2 or whatever is negligent in comparison to what they produce. So why are they putting pressure on us to eliminate?
I agree with you. Exactly. That's the whole point.
That's the point. They need to eliminate what they're doing. They're doing it on a massive scale, and because they're big and powerful, no one can tell them what to do. Even when they go and they join in their big bodies and they sign on to agreement that for instance, hypothetical, Denmark is going to do this and Switzerland is going to do that. And when you look, Denmark doesn't follow up and Switzerland, but nobody can beat them. But soon as we, as small little territories, they say, well, you need to implement this ban on plastic. And soon as we don't do that, you hear we're sanctioned about this and we're cut off from that, and our citizens can't travel to their country. They're abusing us. This is why I keep saying, when individuals say, don't be speaking about colonialism and neocolonialism, nothing has really changed.
But to a certain extent, I do agree with you. To a certain extent, I do agree with you. But if you hear our leaders speak, you get the impression that we are a big, significant part of the climate change problem.
Yeah, when you hear them speak, you get that.
You get the impression from them that we are significantly contributing to it. So therefore we have to do this and we have to do that and we have to do all kind of stuff.
But Greg, if we are aware, and I'm sure even our young people are well aware of our size, our proximity on the face of the earth, and they are well aware that we don't contribute on that level that could cause a destruction to the ozone layer and that kind of stuff. We don't.
But you don't get that. You do not get that impression from our leaders.
Well, maybe
they make sure that they're telling you the impression you get is that we are significantly contributing. That is why we have to do this and why we have to do that. But as you correctly said, as I've said, really and truly, it's just money they want. Because they are promised access to money if they implement this and if they implement that. They are promised access to grants and loans and all kind of stuff.
And then soon as we don't jump when they say jump, and we don't skip and hop and holler when they say holler, they cut off those things and we feel we can't survive without them. That is what they've been trying in Africa, and it's not working now. A lot of those African countries are saying, well, take your money. Imagine the World Bank and the IMF. One of the stipulation they gave to Africa and African countries is that you must not feed yourself. You could imagine that? Don't feed yourself. If you produce food on a massive scale, it's for export. So you produce
those stipulations.
So you produce food on a massive scale in Africa, but it's not for your people to consume. You're supposed to export it so the Europeans and the West can consume it and then do whatever they do to it and then send it back to you, and you pay this exorbitant cost for it, and what? So you're in a compromising position because you can't. And these are stipulations from the World Bank and the IMF. I'm going to play on one of my programs. I'm going to start to play you more clips, so that you don't just think Quint is saying this or where does Quint get these. I have numerous white Caucasian economists speaking about how they are irritated by the trend of the World Bank to impose upon places like Africa, African countries, that they must not do this and they must not do that in order to get their little trinkets and so forth. At the same time, they're taking a vast amount of wealth from your country.
That is so true. And that is why I've said more than once, the IMF especially, but also the World Bank, they're doing more harm to us than good, and our leaders need to learn that and need to really stop going to them and do the right thing.
But they're
doing more harm to us than what good.
But here's the situation: our leaders are not innovative. When they're on the campaign trail in opposition, they say, when we get in, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, without any proper planning. Then they get elected, they find themselves in the seat, they're looking here, there, and everywhere. They don't have any options. So they go to these bodies, and these bodies say to them, well, okay, you do this and you do that, and tell your people this and tell your people that, and we're going to help you with this and we're going to help you with that. And when they incorporate what they've been told to do, our islands find themselves in a worse position. For instance, big example, we were told, because we run to the IMF, that we should impose VAT,
Yes.
and we've been suffering from it since. And now,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and see how our leaders are. Our leaders don't wake up and say, before that, we were running economies and we were getting through, but because we put ourselves in a compromising position and we had to go to the IMF, they imposed that on us. Our leaders aren't sitting down and thinking, look, we have to find a way to get back to that point where we can get a GDP that gives us enough so that we can be innovative enough to eliminate this VAT. They're not thinking that way. They come and they say, here's what we're going to do. Come next election, we're going to take off X percentage. But it wasn't there in the first place, and we were surviving before you run us into debt and had to go to for rescue. And because you went to rescue for rescue, someone who you went to rescue from didn't have your best interest and wants to see you go further down and tell you impose this and impose that. Look, I'm hearing that the IMF is angry right now that our system has decreased VAT. They're saying, hurry up, get back the VAT to, you understand, to where it wasn't that. I mean, come on.
Yes. Yeah, because they are recommending to increase it, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But you see, the next thing now we got to go impose now is homosexuality.
Well,
abortion. Because all these are stipulations.
These are stipulations, ridiculous stipulations. And why are we acquiescing to them? Why, like I said, Greg, and we grew up and there were a few around, and we never run after them. We never beat them up. Our stance was, well, you got your lifestyle, you live it in behind closed doors, and you do. We never went against them. Maybe in those big countries you hear about they're beating them up, and maybe in Jamaica and so on and so forth. But we never had that problem down here. So why now are you imposing on us that it's mandatory that we do this, or else you're going to cut us off from that? And it has reached a point now where in Africa especially, it's reached a point where they're so irritated they say, look, enough of this already. We're not going to implement it, and to hell with you and whatever you're going to impose. And Africa is finding ways to find their own banking system and a whole lot of things that are going to just move them away from the World Bank and the IMF and the West.
Yes. Yeah, but Chris, I'm going to end up by saying, with all due respect, the reason why we ended up in these detrimental, destructive situations and conditions and that sort of stuff because we are too disobedient to the Bible, starting from the churches. Okay, and the only solution is really being obedient to the Bible. There is where the only solution is. And once we continue our disobedience to the Bible, things will only get worse and worse. We need to biblically repent and get right with the Bible and start obeying it. Thank you.
Okay, you take care. And I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Flow customers, unlock big prepaid rewards every time you activate a prepaid plan. Activate a 7-day plan or higher and earn points towards your rewards. Activate again, earn even more points. Activate next week, well, you get the picture. The more you activate, the more extra data and prizes you earn. Get in on the big prepaid rewards. Dial *129 or visit topupflow.com to activate a prepaid plan today.
Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, earn more, only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
And I'm back with you, and let me see if I can go to the phone lines. Okay, lost that caller. Caller, you can call back. There you are. Hello, good day. Hello, caller.
Hey, good morning, sir.
Good day, Carl Brown.
Yes, good day. And what you discussing today? Any special topics?
So you have not been listening?
No. So I on the job and I just give me break. So
Well, Carl, here's what I'm going to say to you. I don't know if you can get us whenever, but I would prefer, I'm going to let you hear whatever you have to say, but I would like well, you're on the job now, so you can't be listening, but when you're not on the job, listen to what we're saying and then calling, and then you won't have to ask what we're discussing. You will be able to jump right in. But go ahead. Is there something on your mind?
I will discuss the topic you're having. I have a number of things that the public attention need to draw to.
I know that you're known for bringing things that you, when you get with your other individuals whom you're discussing with, you feel that you should hear. So I'm going to allow you to do that. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay. Number one, JNF Hospital. You know, since 2023, they promoted some nurses to different positions, nurse managers, staff nurses, sisters in blue belt and brown belt and things. And so up to now, these people ain't get their appointment yet.
Okay.
And we all could remember the present Prime Minister and Minister of Health, Dr. Joe, in campaigning and becoming the leader of Labour. The talk was on JNF, the nurses, the maids. That's even up to now, that's always out his mouth.
Yeah.
They're not being looked after, they're treated so badly, and now he is the boss. Why is he not taking care of them as he ought to? Yes, he's doing a number of things at the hospital, a number of changes, but that's in the front. Also in the back of the hospital look horrible, like a jungle. The front look very nice and attractive and welcoming, but when you go to the back, it's a jungle. The only thing missing is animals and rivers. And also, if you look at the hospital, the maternity ward, going up Virgil Newton Street, where we used to call Old Hospital Road, where you used to go to the back of the hospital, where it's now the back of the hospital, once used to be the front.
Yeah.
Lord, man, it's our main health institution, and I'm talking about this for many months now. Man, give the thing a little paint job, give it a little facelift, let it look welcoming and attractive. It's your main hospital in the federation. You got the front look nice and inside look nice, but the back. I know my grandmothers, which are now deceased, used to tell me, if your house clean and your yard dirty, everything is dirty. I had two grandmothers used to tell me that.
So let me ask you this. So are you saying that the front is looking good and the back is dirty because you hear people say so, or you know that as a fact?
I know that as a fact, so I just retired from there 3.5 years ago, and I passed there and I up there regular.
Okay, so I just wanted that to be on record, that you're not just saying what you heard, but you're saying what you know.
No. When you hear me bring anything here, I got to see for myself, eh?
Okay.
I got to see with my eyes for myself, and I have information on it.
Yes.
Right? The other thing, sir, has tenders gone out for the supposed to be built new hospital yet?
Good question.
Because the Prime Minister every time he come on the station here and press conference and round table, he keep giving us a date and a time when things would start. But yet, is any tenders gone out yet? Who is the contractor company that win the contract to do the hospital? Who is the project manager? Where is the design on the boards that is to put up down there so people could see what we're going to get? All we see down there is grass and bush and some signs on the people in land saying private property.
So, Carl,
and he keep cleaning it up for years now.
Carl, Let me ask you this question because you're a man about. You go places, as you say, see things. Are you aware of this school, the new high school project, how it is going on? Are you seeing some signs of progress there?
Hello, come and tell you what happened. This was all what we call a photo shoot or fashion show. Music festival was just here. They know a lot of people, thousands of people was coming in the island. Lots of returning nationals and people who never come to sing it. People who have come several times going to be here. They run up there with some machines and start to dig out and say the high school start. If you go up there, sir, by the park side, that's when you're going down to go down 4th Street. The high school there, you know, that gate where we all used to walk in and drive in.
Yeah.
Where is the signboard there to show the design of the high school? Who is the project manager? Which company or contractor win the bid? Over on the far end, the park range end. Where is this signed over there to show hospital start, be very careful, blah, 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 you know? Yeah. And the design to show what we are going to get. Who is the contractor? Which company or which contractor? Who is the project manager and all of that? It was a photo shoot. It was just to show people that, oh, yes, we promised the high school, yes, and see you all come and you see it start. Go up there now. The machines them park up there, and you not chuck heading out, not dot, nothing thing. It was just to show forth to the world that come here that yes, we start the high school. In a rush.
So, Carl, let me ask you this: If any system, any regime, well, right now we have Labour in there, but let's say it was PAM or PLP or whatever. If any regime does this kind of thing and says, well, work is going on, blah, 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 and then we don't see anything going on, how does that benefit the advancement of the country?
He's not benefit, he only benefiting the people where the millions pass in their hand. But the down-to-earth man like me and you, the mom and pop shops them around the area, they ain't getting no benefit off of it, because nothing happening around there. Mm-hmm. The supermarkets and them in the area, there is no benefit for them. Because nothing is happening there. And another thing, Dr. Ju came on the radio the other day and said that job is up 11%. Well, sir, we the small business people ain't seeing it and feeling it, you know. Because if you have an increase of 11% increase in jobs, how come the small business and the large businesses, them ain't feeling it and ain't seeing it showing in the cash and in the turnover and the shelf them? Where is it? Where were these jobs created?
Good question.
He didn't outline. He's supposed to outline and say, okay, we start WinFM down there, and we have 75 people working down there, and in another couple of weeks we'll have another 25. We started up there, and along with the private sector, we are combining, and we're doing something. Oh, this is what's supposed to explain to the country. You can't just come and say job increased by 11%. Did Social Security come out and say they see 11% increase in collection of Social Security?
Speaking of which, Carl, recently, I'm glad you brought that point up, because recently I heard the police giving some statistics in relation to crime and so forth in the country. And I was a bit irritated because I heard the individuals say that murder was down, and he called a certain percentage. I can't remember the percentage. And I was kind of irritated because I was saying to myself, how can you come out, we're just past the middle of the year 2025, and you're going to make a statement and say for 2025 murder is down XYZ. You shouldn't be doing that.
I heard it too, and I said when I get on a talk show, are you going to make them do some corrections? Say for the first half of 2025, This is the results that we are seeing. And for 2023, 2024, this was what we see.
Yeah.
So in 2025, the first half, we have a decrease. That is what I was supposed to say. I don't understand these highly educated people when they get up there. Think if you cannot talk straight, get your thing right up and type out and read off for it.
Yeah. Because you see, young people are listening, and is it that you feel everybody's stupid, so you can just come and make a statement, and we know we're just about halfway in the year, and you're gonna say you didn't even say at this point or at halfway, as Carl just said. You said for 2025.
So that means we're in the middle of December.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, are we in the beginning of January? That is when you make that kind of statement.
Yeah.
And one last thing. Boy, this one here is ticklish, my boy. It's alleged.
Yes.
Information coming through the grapevine, the word on the street, that the accused person that is accused of killing the nurse went to court. A couple persons went to court yesterday. And after court, they was taken to a newly opened business space in Frigate Bay to meet a businessman and had whether lunch, snack, or whatever, and leave some of the other prison officers in the van outside, while Mr. Inside getting treated like a prince and a king.
Well, again, Carl, make sure you iterate. It is alleged.
It's alleged
Yes,
that
yes.
a number of prison officers have been already charged. The public wants to know if they are going to be suspended and if there are going to be a thorough investigation into that matter. Why they reach off the route? Because from the courthouse to the prison, why you reach Frigate Bay with the prisoners that just attended court and they were having lunch or snack or breakfast or supper.
Okay, is that it?
The country wants to know if a thorough investigation is going to be taking place and if these prison officers and all those who was involved, right, is going to be under investigation, and why they had to meet with this businessman, right, and sit and had a meal to eat and drink, but yet the other prison officers who went to court was outside in the van and food was it's alleged food and drinks was taken to them, while Mr. Inside being treated like a king and a normal customer with his business friend.
Well, thank you
And
for
remember,
thank you for that bit
remember,
of
do I
thank
the
you,
former
Carl.
prison minister, do I ask if and take a prisoner to a ball at Frigate Bay, and we take him to task.
Yes.
For many months. Many months we take him to task and the talk.
Yeah. Well, seem as
Right.
if, oh, okay. I thought I had lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, I hope the public would not sit by and let this thing. The public, they need to come out and give the public the attention of this matter. Why was the prisoners, them just returning from court, past the prison and was over Frigate Bay in a newly just opened business? Some inside, well, one special prisoner inside having meal, treated like a normal customer and a king, with alleged prison officers and other prisoners outside in the prison vehicle, and meal was taken to them.
Okay.
Gone, sir.
Okay, so perhaps the media, various medias can investigate, and so that we can know if that is a factual thing, if it actually happened, or if it, as Mr. Carl Brown stated, if it remains alleged and just hearsay. Hello, caller.
Oh, sorry to call back a second time, but let me say quickly, most of the innovations that was spoken about, like the plastic tiles and all of that,
Yes.
is not from any large, big corporations. It's most of them is Africans. When I say Africans, black people.
Yes.
Because I know about the plastic tiles and so on.
Yeah.
The rubber tiles.
Yes.
That one is from a lady in Nigeria.
Okay.
And all of what I'm seeing, I've never seen any other persons with these innovations.
Yes.
Right? Now, we here in this country, you want to tell me that we are so dumb and daft that we can't even come up with our own invention?
Well,
We can. But you see, we have been manufactured to be beggars. Okay?
Yeah.
We are manufactured to be beggars and to more or less like dumb down that part of our brain that is responsible for creativity and so on. And even if somebody said they're going to break through and decide, well, I am going to do this and I'm going to do that, I'm going to, trust me, it's not going to come off the ground.
Yeah.
They're going to kill it. I'm telling you, they're going to kill it. They're going to kill it. Because I don't think they want to see, you know, we might hear talk about us being creative and we are an intelligent people and so on. A lot of that is just talk. A lot of that is just talk. Because then when the practicalities come now, where people now start to show their intelligence, start to show the creativity, they kill them down. Even people who are good with their hands, they don't even want to pay them their money. They get what they want, and when you look at it, they don't want to pay them their money. And this is what is happening in this place.
Yeah.
Well, finally, as for the last thing where he's talking about the prisoner, well, I am not going to say much of it, but let me ask this question. Is it been said the reason why he did what he did? To the best of your knowledge,
No, well, I guess that is why there's a court case going on. I wouldn't be privy to that.
Because if what I heard is alleged to have caused the man to do what he did, to tell you the truth, if I have to say what I have to say, and a lot of people will not agree with me. I know they will not be happy with what I'm saying, but this is my strong conviction, and that man should let go. Anyway, I'll stay here.
So
They should have let him go. Sorry.
So
Yes,
are you
something
saying?
happened.
So I don't like that to hear that. Are you? Am I hearing you clearly that someone was killed and you're saying that someone else should walk free?
Look, a life was taken. A life was taken. We agree with that.
Yes.
Okay? And anyhow, we turn it. A life was taken.
And that is
but
wrong.
I'm moving past that. I'm looking at the reason behind that. I don't have the time right now here to say what I have to say, but I don't know if this can be picked up another time. But based on what I am hearing, if what is alleged is true, if I was in that position, he would go with a clean record. It's not easy to when you have worked so hard and trust. No. Anyway, I will leave it like that.
Okay,
Maybe
well,
another time.
yeah, maybe another time. Hello, caller. Thanks for your patience.
Yeah, good day, man. If there was a murder and evidence is presented, more than likely it will be a guilty plea, a guilty verdict.
Yeah.
Anyway, Quint, was there a murder?
Before you, yes, there was. I heard this morning that there was a murder on Nevis, but before you go on, before you go on in relation to what was said just a while ago, look, life is a strange thing, and we've got to be very careful. Sometimes you reap what you sow, and I'm not going to say that you're right to take a life. Look, when I was young, I was crazy, perhaps brain damage. When I say brain damage, I use that term because Bill Cosby had a thing where he said, when you're young, you're brain damaged. But he said that because the way you acted, you couldn't be in your right mind. But I was in my right mind, it's just being a little. But when you're young, you do crazy things. But as you mature, you look back on life and you say, blah, 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 blah. I never reached to the point where I committed crimes like killing anybody or that kind of stuff, so don't get it wrong. But I was into other things, like, for instance, stealing and that kind of stuff. I was into that as a youth. And you mature and you look back and because I've always been honest with myself, being a realist, and I never blamed anyone for the things I did. I did them because whatever circumstances, whatever mindset I was in. I say that to say this. let's use a hypothetical. Let's say a man sees a woman. He loves the woman, and the woman is making all kind of demands on him financially. If you're gonna give this woman all these things that you say that she says she want and that kind of stuff, and you're not in your mind thinking, look, where do I draw the line? Is she asking for too much? What is in this for me? How is this going to play out? If you're doing this without looking long term, and then you find out that after having invested all these things, she dumps you and get another man, do you have the right to kill her? No, because you had your right.
Not at all.
Yeah, you had your right mind, and if you were a fool and you look, life is a harsh thing, you know. So I'm not gonna say I don't know the circumstances of the murder, so I'm not gonna even venture there. But I'm using a hypothetical, and I'm saying if you're a fool, you see, men got to learn to be men. If you get involved with a woman and she says you reach a certain point and she says, "Hey, Quinn, I want so and so and so," and I might look at her and I like her and I say to myself, "Okay, I don't mind doing that," so I do that. But at what point do I stop? At what point do I, at a certain point when she says, "Well, Quint, I want so," and I'm looking at the situation, I'm thinking, okay, so she looks good, but here's me. This is how I look at life. A woman is a woman, she has her body. I've never seen a man who was with a woman. I say this to my children, especially my sons. I've never seen a man who was with a woman and when they break up, he can put his hand in his pocket, take it out and say, "This is a piece of the woman." No. When she goes with herself. You understand? She takes what she owns, her body and everything with her. So why are you going to make all these kind of investment and so forth and you don't know how this is going to turn out? You don't even reach a point where you're married, or even if you're married, men have got to reach the point where you say, "No, baby, look, I love you, but no, you crazy." Can't happen.
Well, don't forget the part that she goes with half of your SHIT. She takes half of your stuff.
Well, that hasn't happened too much down here, but I'm sure that isn't far from happening down here also, because we tend to follow trends. So yeah, you're right.
And don't start listing all the crimes you did back in the days. The statute of limitation might not have run out yet.
No, well, I didn't look. And the things I did were things that boys do. You understand?
Yeah, got you. I got you. I'm just bugging.
Yeah,
I'm just bugging with you. I got you.
Yeah, I didn't do any. Yeah, there were bad things, but there were things that boys do, especially boys back in those days. You know what I'm saying?
Mischievous things.
Yeah. For instance, I'm sure you know that when you were going to school back in the day, if you tell me that you didn't jump over into somebody's yard and steal some fruits and that kind of stuff, you're telling me you never did that as a boy in the Caribbean growing up?
That would be like a big fat lie, like lies, a lie like what them politicians doing right now.
Okay, so
giving the people 6 or 9.
So I did those things, but I took it further. You understand? But not to the point where about statute of limitations and that kind of stuff. No. You understand? No. So don't get it twisted up in here. You know what I'm saying?
The people of St. Kitts and Nevis are being duped by the politicians. Each one of them, all of them, no exceptions. When at the end of the day, I just want to know who's going to clean up this mess. The place is running like a wild, wild west. The citizens, they don't want to follow the laws. You know what I mean? The laws ain't being enforced, and the fish is stinks from the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quentin, over at Nevis, man, the attention is going to start switching to Nevis. And I'm going to tell you why. Again, we are seeing the people who are managing the Nevis money is mismanaging the money. Lots of projects underground over there can't be completed. And the biggest one of all is that hospital wing. When we are talking about national health care scheme, that national health care scheme can't come to fruition yet. But I'm just asking the Nevis people to wake up and realize that we need our little island to progress and advance. Just
How
as
long?
well.
How long has this hospital thing been going on? Do you have an
I'm,
idea?
I'm hearing about 8 years.
Oh,
It was already projected to be completed. But there's a concerned citizen on Nevis. I don't want to call his name. He's a guy, and he has been asking some pointed questions to the premier, and the premier doesn't seem like he like it, and he resort to calling the guys out his name, like how
yeah.
you said yesterday.
That is why I made the
premier,
statement.
He start
That is
going
why
on with his
that is why
business.
I made the statement yesterday, because I heard about it and
Yes.
I feel like go ahead.
And that shouldn't be. The guy needs an apology. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, coming from the top person in the island, why do he really need to resort to that name calling? It's bad enough that we're on social media trying to bring each other down every day. That guy, he needs an apology.
And especially,
I mean, suppose this guy had reacted and start swinging his hands.
no, well, it shouldn't go
Then it would
there.
be another story.
It shouldn't go
No,
there.
it shouldn't go there.
Look,
Yeah, you're right.
and-
You're right.
and I'm-
Let me-
and
I
I'm-
want, okay, let me. I want to take that back.
yeah,
back.
because
It
I
shouldn't
was
go there.
because I was
But-
just going to say that I'm surprised at you for making that statement, because it shouldn't go to where you throw hands. I thought you would have said, suppose the guy had gotten so angry that he started
Okay,
to
let
use
me get that rephrased in my own words. I'm gonna take that back, and what I want to say is, I want to give that guy some accommodation. Give him some accommodation for restraint.
Yes.
How he restrained himself.
Yeah.
That's what I want to say. And I want to give him some props
Yeah.
for the restraint that he displayed.
Yes.
It was really good on his part.
Yes.
Because someone else might have reacted.
Might
So
have
I want to really
might have
compliment that guy.
might have
that-
reacted with some expletives, and so forth. Because you see
Yeah.
me, if you get me angry enough, I'm good at expletives. I don't hesitate. You know what I'm saying?
So the citizens of Nevis, we now got to not take our eyes off the prize and come to realize that our managers of our money has been messing up. And we need new persons managing our money. The only way to get that done is to remove the current.
You're breaking up, man. You're breaking up. Anyway, we're out of time. The news is up next, so
Okay, we'll leave it there. And thanks a lot, Dan.
yeah. Like I said, I'm easygoing and so forth. But if if I look up to you and you make some stupid statements, I might give you an expletive or two. Because I'm not going to rant and go on long, but I'm gonna tell you how I feel and drop in a few adjectives and so on and so forth. So, time for the midday news.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by The Grain,